All right, everybody, welcome back to Jack's World of Wildlife. I'm super excited to have you guys here today, and we're just going to get right into it. We're doing another little live stream-esque style thing. These lights seem really bright. I'm going to see if I can turn them down. That's better. I'm not quite as reflective. Being Caucasian, my skin does a great job at aiding in the overexposure of my videos. But anyway, welcome back. This is our fifth live stream. I'm excited to answer some of you guys' questions. Excited about just connecting with you guys after this long week. We haven't had a video released. I apologize. I've just been super busy with everything I've been doing. So if you guys are over in the live, hop over to YouTube. If you're on the Instagram, hop over to YouTube. And we're going to do some more Q&A, and then we're going to get into maybe some other topics if we have time. So hop on over, and I'm going to go ahead and shut down the Instagram live so I can give my full attention to the YouTube crowd. So thank you for watching on Instagram. And remember, if you want to hear more, hop on over to YouTube. Okay. We are going to... I'm going to go ahead and upload this little live real quick on Instagram. Frog Room live tour. Check out the Frog Room. Add to series, new series, live streams. Okay, done. Post. All right, cool. All right, what? Okay, let's get right into it, folks. Why did I start my YouTube channel? Great question. I started my YouTube channel because I have always just really felt called to educate, to teach people about animals. And I'd always kind of thought of this idea of having my own show. And what better place, what easier place to do that than YouTube? And it wasn't until I just saw a ton of content coming out about animals and animal related stuff that was just like bonkers that I was like, oh, okay, well, this idea that I've had like way far out in the future in my head, I probably need to do that now. And so that's kind of why my channel really jumped into existence. Was I saw a lot of videos coming out. People were interested in learning about animals, but there wasn't a lot of like actually trained people or educated people doing that. There was a lot of, really quick just kind of influencers or YouTubers that were just like trying to sensationalize and capitalize on animals just to like grow their brand, as opposed to focusing and actually animals being the main center of their content. And so I was just like, well, I mean, who better to fix this problem than myself? If I they say, well, if you don't like it, why don't you do something about it? So I did. And that's the main reason why I have created this channel, was because, I mean, I love doing it. I love traveling. I love teaching. I love just doing my part to try and make a difference and save the planet. And so I work really hard to do what I can in my own power to do that. What is with the hat? It is in every live stream. Well, it's one of my favorite hats. I have two hats that I wear. This is my coral snake hat, my crurus, one of my absolute favorite genera of snake. And then I've got my Heloderma horridum, the Mexican beaded lizard hat, which I wear, but it's starting to like rip up in the front, so I don't wear it quite as much anymore. I have a bunch of other of these eco hats, but for some reason, when they got like bought by a different company or they started buying hats from somewhere else, they fit different. The other hats like go down lower, and I don't like how they fit. So I really am just wearing these until they break, and then I'm gonna have to see if I can get some of the older hats, because I really like these hats. Also, my hair is starting to get long again, and when my hair gets long, I put it up in a hat to keep it out of my face because it's really thick and unruly, and if it's not in a hat all day, like it sticks like straight up because it's long. So I grow my hair out every once in a while. Sometimes I keep it short, sometimes I keep it long. I like it short when I'm on long trips, but not being on long trips right now. It's cold, so I'm keeping it long. Um, but that's why this hat's in every live stream, because I wear it every day. So um, it's in my live streams because I'm always wearing it. Um, any more stinging plans? Ooh, maybe. I'm working on getting some more stuff planned for sting videos this year. Um, I don't want to spoil anything, but we'll probably have a few more wasps, a few more ants, and maybe a few more spiders. So don't get too excited. Just wait. But we are planning on doing quite a few bite and sting videos this year. This may be the last year we end up doing them. I'm really hoping I can get every single one that I have left on my list done this year. I'd prefer it to be that way. It really helps the channel to grow because people are really interested in that kind of content, but I don't like having to rely on it. I'd really like to be able to have my mammal videos, my bird videos, do just as well. So it's more of just a way to help my channel grow for the time being, and then be able to kind of grow the entirety of the viewing base for all my videos. So we'll do a few more. I don't mind doing them. I find them to be pretty interesting. I like, experiencing new things and comparing different types of stinging insects. So it's kind of interesting for me to just rank them. I'm not allergic. I'm not sensitive to the venom. It it's interesting to me. So I'll keep doing them. I've got some planned, but I'm not going to spoil anything. But there's definitely going to be some sting and bite videos this year, for sure. So don't sweat it. Don't worry about it. There's going to be more. Just be patient. It's cold right now. It's going to be hard for me to find stuff. But the second it warms up this summer, I've got my entire summer free, and we're going to try and get some more of that stuff put together for you guys. All right. So any more questions? If we don't have any more questions right now, I will put together. I've got some things to talk about today too. I want to congratulate you for everything you are doing. Very educational. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. That's my main goal, is education. I don't want to just try and, I don't know, exploit the natural world. I feel like a lot of influencers that do animal stuff, a lot of the times it's like them, their brand, they get to work with animals as opposed to, like, hey, check out these animals. And so I want you guys to enjoy and to connect with me. But I really want to make sure that we're really heavily focusing on the education aspect, the respect aspect, and the animal aspect of my content. So I'm really glad that you guys are enjoying it, that you are finding value in my content. That's great. I'm hoping we can dig our way out of this kind of shadow ban, analytically speaking, because I'm kind of stuck for some reason. We did really well in growth this year with the murder hornet stuff. My sting videos were through the roof, and I mean last year, and we also had the black widow bite, the brown recluse bite. We did the tarantula hawk wasp sting go right, and so all those videos did really, really well, and they were just growing and growing and growing, and I was really excited to see how far those are going to go, and everything's kind of just really slowed down, and I'm not sure entirely what that is, but it's mostly YouTube suggesting my content. Sadly, when YouTube is suggesting my content, people like it, people click on it. So it's kind of like, unless YouTube is throwing my stuff out there, we're not really seeing a lot of change, a lot of growth. So I really appreciate all of you guys who are still watching and liking and commenting and sharing, because that's really the only way we're still growing at all right now. Didn't expect the pandemic. Pretty sure you will be affected from it with the traveling, but also there are chances to see some rare species this year. Yeah, absolutely. As the pandemic hopefully starts to die down with the introduction of vaccines and things of that nature, hopefully we'll start seeing places opening back up and travel becoming safe again. I'm hoping that the prices of traveling stay low, but there is a pretty real chance that airlines will have to be charging more to compensate for the lack of business during this time. So I'm really hoping that the latter happens, and we're able to get places, cheap and easy and safely to get some videos filmed, and with less human activity. You're right. More animal activity should be happening. So I'm hopeful that we can have a really solid year. I'm working on planning some collaborations with a plethora of other YouTubers, animal influencers, and things of that nature. I'm really hoping that we can get a lot of stuff done. I was hoping 2020 would be a year of a ton of content and a ton of collabs, but obviously didn't quite go as planned. So I'm hoping 2021 we can turn it around and get stuff back on track. Because really and truly, it's been weird. It's been a weird and stunted year. But yeah, I'm hopeful. I hope we can get a ton of rare and interesting things done this year. It's just a matter of what all works out, what all opens up, and what all we get to do. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of at the whim of the world. Any more questions in particular? We don't necessarily have to stick to just Q&A. I've got a few other things that we can talk about, but I want to make sure everybody gets a chance to ask their questions. And if we're done with questions, then we can move on to some different topics, and you guys can still ask me questions through that, though. But well, I'll just go into it. We'll talk while we're rating. This year, I'm hoping we will get kind of back into the swing of things. I hope this was an eye-opening year for everybody, because this is what happens when we are just careless with our environment, with the species that we share this planet with. And what I mean by that is we absolutely have to put pressure on governments locally and globally to protect nature, to protect animals, to protect ecosystems, healthy ecosystems. We're going to continue to have pandemics. The more we exploit our natural resources, the more we are taking animals from the wild, selling them in markets, poaching, Eastern medicinal, you know, remedies and things of that nature, we're going to run into more of this overlap of where we have sick animals and bushmeat being in the same proximity as people, and that's not a great combination. And that's how we get these pandemics. Ebola we got from bushmeat. COVID-19 we've gotten from bushmeat, from animals, wet markets, and things like that. So we really need to just take a step back and realize that we're not void of responsibility, but we're not stupid either, and we can change and we can adapt and we can modify some of what we've been doing. And I think it's important that we reflect and make sure that when we respect and take care of the planet will in turn respect and take care of us. That's how this system works. We were built to be connected. And when we are not doing our part and we're not taking care of what we have, dunzo. We get a kick in the butt. Thank you, Wishbone Jones. Yes, hit like, everybody. Hit like. Like, comment, share your favorite episode this week. Like I said, we're still in the slums of random shadow banning. So any bit of interaction that you guys do tells YouTube, hey, people like the videos. I'm gonna try and get some really cool videos out to you guys this year and the next few weeks even. And I'm hoping that we can get some solid stuff done, mostly because I am wanting to see a lot of growth this year, and I'm hoping we will see a lot of growth this year. I've had a lot of my friends and fellow influencers and YouTubers do really, really well during the pandemic, and I've had a lot of my friends who, not doing well, not growing hardly at all. And so I really want to make sure that that I am doing what I can to try and move forward and try and get this stuff up and off the ground and rolling and rolling and rolling. And hopefully 2021 is a little more productive than 2020. But I was just recognizing I got back from Thailand in the middle of February in 2019. 2019. And I have not been, vastly traveling internationally since then. So in about a month, that will mark 2 years since I came back from Thailand. And that's like, oh my gosh, I feel like Thailand was one of the more recent Jacksonville Wildlife trips. The only other place I went that was big, that wasn't just road tripping stuff, was Alaska and Canada. But that was for like a week, and that was in the summer of 2019. So we're gonna roll back over to that this coming summer. That'll mark 2 years since I've even been out of the country. So I'm hoping I can put it out into the universe. I'm getting my passport renewed in the next month or so. Maybe that'll help some stuff like start to roll for me. I don't know. I really hope it's going to be a good year. I'm hopeful. I'm pushing to make it a good year. I'm pushing to make some more connections and get some more video ideas for you guys. But I wanted to kind of have a conversation with y'all about what types of videos you'd like to see. I know people want more Sting videos. I've already got that on the schedule. But I've also got access to a ton of venomous snakes. And I can do videos with people's private collections or specific kind of species highlights where we're not in the wild, but we have, maybe a rhino viper or a king cobra or something like that we can just kind of sit down with and talk about. Or I was thinking as well, we could do some venom comparisons. I've seen those be pretty popular. I've got access to a ton of different venomous snakes that we can milk and then mix with blood and see what all happens. Because some people they'll put on their channel, they'll have one or two of those videos, but I've got access to 15, 20, 30 species of venomous snake, and I'd be interested to see how venom reacts to blood with each and every one. I think that would be really fun. I'm also thinking, really, I'd like to incorporate more plants, more fungi, more microorganisms. I think that would be really, really interesting. Uh, I think that you guys would really like that, or grow to really like that. But like I said, these are the types of videos that kind of come once we've got a good following, a regular, view base, and it's hard for me to put a lot of time, effort, and money into creating content that people aren't necessarily going to enjoy at this current moment. More hornets. I'd love to film with more hornets. I love the social insects and Hymenoptera. I have no problem with doing more hornets and more hornet stings. But like I said, it'll be probably a few months before it starts to warm up enough to the point where I can go out and film really any insects. But yeah, I love insects. I'm thinking I've put a lot more insect content out on the channel. A lot of people voted mostly for insect and reptile content, more of that. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's what we're going to be doing exclusively, but I do think that we'll probably focus a little bit harder on trying to get more insect and reptile content. Rank my stings and bites, top 10 animal finds. Those are great ideas. Yeah, I could do like a compilation, and like a little kind of behind the scenes talking about you know which stings hurt more, because some of my sting videos I'm comparing previous sting videos, but I've done stuff since. Like Vespa Tropica is my most painful sting, but the most painful like sting or bite was the Black Widow. And Black Widow beat everything, and the Black Widow was one of my more recent videos. In comparison, things like Myrmecia were pretty similar to Neoponera in their stings. And so, there could be a lot of interesting kind of comparisons that I can do now, being on the far end of everything, instead of saying, oh, hey, bullet ant hurt more than tarantula hawk, but Myrmecia hurt less than bullet ant, and blue bottle wasp hurt maybe as much as a bullet ant, but stopped immediately after it was stinging me. Things like that. And we can just lay it all out on the table and compare everything in real time as this going forward. I think that'd be fun. Top 10 animal finds would be fun. Venomous snake videos would be my personal first choice. Like the fungi idea a lot too. Great. So yeah, fungi is super interesting and really understudied. And I was thinking maybe we could do some like foraging videos. A lot of people will forage for edible species of fungi. I've got some friends who do that. Also, there's some really cool videos I could do on not technically a fungi, but a protist slime mold. I get it popping up in my vivariums every once in a while. And I think that would be really cool, because you can really see it kind of pulsate and move and look for food on a time lapse. And I think that those would be really cool, interesting videos that are kind of different from what we've done in the past. Because even though we're Jack Sort of Wildlife, really biology in general is my kind of field of interest and expertise. And I would really like to showcase a lot more of the living world, because it all comes together. It all pieces together. Without fungi, plants wouldn't do as well. Without plants, animals wouldn't have anything to eat. They all tie together. We're on a living planet. This planet is for all intents and purposes alive. And so I would like to study ways about bringing that concept to the channel, and just really showcasing how everything, is not only connected but alive. Um, I saw a ladybug today. Awesome. Uh, insects to yes, any species. Yeah, great. I think insects would be really solid. More insects and more reptiles. I'd like to do some more birds, some more mammals, but we'll see. I can get some of those done while it's cold, because we still have birds and mammals active during this time of year. But I think that the insects and the reptiles are things that people come to the channel more often to see. Isopods, yeah, sure. We could do some isopod videos. I have some species in my vivariums. Mostly, I've got just dwarf white isopods. I used to keep a bunch. I used to even keep Ligia exotica, which is a marine isopod, a shoreline isopod, and they get super big. They get like, I don't know, an inch and a half long, and they eat kind of the same things: seaweed, fish, that type of stuff. Um, but they were really cool. I had them doing pretty well. They need like oxygenated salt water. And so I kept them for a while, and they actually bred for me. But eventually, the colony just died out because I was gone too much. Which is worst, Vespa tropica or Vespa luctosa? Um, I don't know because I've never been stung by Vespa luctuosa. Um, so out of my experience, Vespa tropica. If they're similarly sized, they've got similar venom compositions. So they would probably feel about the same. I'd be interested to see. I really want to see how painful Vespa mandarinia is, because they do get considerably larger than Vespa tropica, by about 75%, at least. And so I'd be interested to see, because that should really pack a punch. Vespa tropica was a painful hornet, and I would really like to see how painful Vespa mandarinia would be. Japanese yellow hornet, sure. Is that's still Vespa, isn't it? Let's check and see. Um, I don't know all the common names, so we'll have to check. All I'm seeing is Vespa mandarinia. Vespa similia, the yellow hornet, known as the Japanese hornet, Japanese yellow hornet. Um, sure. If it's a Vespa, they're all similar. I mean, some people they kind of put this big title, Asian giant hornet. That's gonna be the worst one. Executioner wasp. That's gonna be the worst one. Warrior wasp. But really, most of these hornets and wasps in the same genus, their stings are pretty similar to the other similarly sized same genus species. People don't like to hear that because certain influencers, Coyote Peterson and some other people that have done the sting stuff, they make these ones out to be like, oh, this is the worst one, or this one's going to be way worse than anything else. But they're all hymenopterans, they're all wasps. They're probably going to feel similar. Only thing I can really think of is if they're really really big, that they can just inject you with more venom and you can have a more severe reaction. So I'd be interested to test Vespa mandarinia. I don't know if it would hurt more, but I do think it would last much longer than Vespa tropica, which is interesting because my whole arm was swollen for like, I don't know, a week from the Vespa tropica sting. So that was pretty intense. Would you ever feature something like corals? My dad grows them as a hobby, and they're pretty interesting. And some have a sting. Possible video idea that might bring in new people. Absolutely. I used to keep saltwater fish tanks, And coral is was really the only thing I was interested in keeping. I had I didn't keep like all these reef fish. I would have like one or two fish in like a small coral reef tank, and I absolutely love coral. That's one of my absolute favorite things ever that I've ever got to work with and keep and grow. Um, I would love to do more videos on that. I'm hoping maybe this coming summer I'll be able to get back to Florida and get down to the Keys, and we can do some reef diving and check out some Acropora colonies, some Montipora colonies. As far as stinging corals, not sure. Probably like Palithoas and stuff. Um, but I'm not sure if we will do that, mostly because I have never been stung by coral, so I don't know how I would react to it. But absolutely, I'd love to feature coral. That's a super interesting group of animals that I would love to showcase more of on the channel. I've got a new GoPro. We've got some new kind of underwater filming equipment. You guys are going to see firsthand some of what we were able to capture with the shark dive and with the manatee dive here in the next few weeks. Once I finish up those videos, we got a ton of cool underwater footage, and I'm itching to get back out and film more stuff with that equipment. So absolutely love coral. Would love to film some videos about that, because coral is probably one of the most critical group of organisms on the planet in terms of planetary health in general. These reef systems are so massive; they support, a vast majority of marine life, directly. And without coral, without healthy ocean parameters for coral, we could see, I mean, entire nations, no longer able to get food from the ocean, food from our seas. And that is going to be a horrible day if that ever happens. But absolutely would love, love, love to produce more content like that. And that's exactly the type of stuff I'm going to try and get done this year, because I feel that we can kind of really add to what we have been doing on the channel. That's exactly the type of stuff I'm looking for. Interesting types of invertebrates, new types of content, marine stuff, diving. I'm collecting more and more tools to help me produce that type of content for you guys. Jacksonville Wildlife, thanks for the t-shirt. Received it Saturday. Very comfy shirt. Awesome. Glad it is comfortable. I know they're so freaking soft. I think I have mine on. No, I don't. But they are so soft. I love the shirts. If you guys want shirts, we've got shirts and hoodies. The link is in the description of this video. The premium tees are super soft, super comfortable. They've got our Jacksonville Wildlife logo up on the front. Super soft. The hoodies are really, really good. So absolutely, if you guys want some of that, hop on over. I'm working on maybe expanding our merch list, and maybe we can get some other designs and things like that. But for right now, we've got the really nice just trying to see if sometimes I've got stickers and things up here. Really nice, just the big logo on the front, and we have the hoodies with the logo and the t-shirts. But they're super, super great. Yellow jacket or jewel wasps. Jewel wasps, I think they're prettier. I think Polistes major can be found in Florida. Yes, it can. Polistes major can be found in Florida and in South Texas. Hey, we might do a sting video this year with Polistes major. If I can find one, I have no problem with stinging myself with Polistes major. For those of you who don't know, Polistes major is essentially an executioner wasp. In fact, they used to be classified as the same thing. There's some minor morphological differences and a little bit different venom composition for them to have awarded Polistes carnifex with its own separate species. But they're pretty similar. Both giant paper wasps, should both pack quite a punch. But that's the type of stuff that we will be looking into doing in this following year. Vespa luctuosa may be similar, maybe smaller than an Asian giant hornet, but Wiki says it's more venomous. That's kind of a not technically a an argument for whether or not they'll be more or less painful. Like some stuff like a black widow, their venom is like 15 times as potent as like a western diamondback rattlesnake. But a western diamondback rattlesnake has like 100 times, 200 times, 1,000 times the venom yield of a black widow. So it kind of like cancels out, if that makes sense. Like, oh, it's not, if a black widow had rattlesnake venom and it bit you and its tiny venom glands push that much into you, you'd probably be fine. Your arm might swell up, it might hurt, but it would go away, right? But if a rattlesnake had black widow venom, two big venom glands packed of super toxic venom, you would die like instantly. So it's about yield. So even though it's a smaller, more venomous species, that doesn't necessarily make it more dangerous or more painful, because a larger species can cause more damage because it's got more venom. So a small species can have super toxic venom, but if the yield is super small, it's not going to do very much to you. It's just like the black widow. Like a black widow can't kill me, even though its venom is 15 times as potent as a rattlesnake. If I got bitten by 15 different rattlesnakes, I would die, right? So it's about how much venom the animal has and then how your body reacts to it. Hey Jack, sorry I missed today's intro. What's the subject matter of the stream? We're kind of popping around. We're doing some Q&A. I've also been talking about limiting our exploitation of wet markets and ecosystems to help limit future pandemics. And also we talked a little bit about I don't remember what else. Somebody remind me in the comments. Have we talked about anything else? I can't remember. It's just kind of just a hangout. We're not super structured for today, but yeah, feel free to ask any sort of questions or any sort of comments. Let's see here. Actually, the name of Polistes major is the horse's wasp. Yep, that is the common name. But like I said, taxonomically, classification-wise, they used to be the same species. They split them up. Let's see. I'd love to see some bald-faced hornets. We have them here in upstate South Carolina, and they are amazing insects. I'm hoping to get out east this year, maybe on a little road trip, get some collaborations, get some videos filmed, and hopefully we'll run into some. Bald-faced hornets are super, super cool, and I've never actually seen any in the wild, so maybe we'll do a little video and do a little sting video. I'm sorry if you've covered this before, but do you ever get nervous just before the insect bites? This is a good question. Nobody's ever really asked me this. I kind of don't. I used to. For the first tarantula hawk wasp sting, I had stung myself with little ants and stuff, in Texas and Costa Rica. But the tarantula hawk, they were telling, like I was reading all these reports, and they were like, you just have to lay down and just scream and flail around for like 20 minutes because your body is just overloaded with pain. And I was like, that sounds like ridiculous. That sounds like horrible. And so I was super nervous to do that. In fact, I had, if you go back and watch that original video, it's the tarantula hawk wasp sting gone wrong, and I make my buddy Matthew get stung by it first. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like really gonna hurt. I'm gonna let him get like the brunt of it first. And I go and I slam it on his arm, and he's like, oh, huh. And I'm like, what is going on? Surely it would hurt more than that if it's got such a reputation. And then I go and sting myself, and I'm like, that's kind of dumb. Why does it not hurt? And then bullet ant, I was nervous about. But after that, I've done it so many times now where it's just like, I know what it's going to do. So I'm not nervous about stings and bites now, but that kind of makes me a little overconfident because I'm like, oh, surely it's going to be less than what I'm expecting. And so I ended up really holding the Black Widow on me for way too long. And so where would have, a defensive bite would have been a pinch and release, I got, just like seconds worth of it just dumping all of its venom into me. And I was thinking, oh, like first few hours, I was like, it's okay. I'm sure it's going to go away. I'm going to be able to sleep tonight. I'll sleep it off. And then it was just excruciating pain for like 13 hours. And I was like, may have miscalculated on that one. So I don't get nervous anymore, but that's not necessarily always a good thing, because now I'm kind of like, oh, it's never going to hurt as bad as I think it's going to hurt. But sometimes I get proven wrong. And it's interesting when I get proven wrong, but it hurts a lot more when I get proven wrong. But that's a great question. Are you planning to go on a trip like the Borneo one anytime soon? Really enjoyed those videos. I'd love to get back to Borneo. I don't have anything planned for right now. Most of the Asian countries are still closed for most intents and purposes. Some of them you can go and you have to pay to quarantine yourself in a hotel for like a month. And then you can kind of go to like a few places, but it's still very limited in movement and things like that. So it's just not super realistic for me to go right now. I would love to get back to Borneo. Borneo is one of the top places I've been that I just feel like I have to go back, because really we only had a few days on the island, just in Sabah, which is in the northernmost section of Borneo. That's Malaysian Borneo. And I feel like now going back, I could really maximize my time there. We could do a lot better, get a lot more content, and film a lot more species. And so I'd love to get back to Borneo. I don't think it's going to happen this year, but maybe in the next 2 years, we can get some more of those types of things put together. And that's wishful thinking, but I'm hoping we can get back on track and get back out to Borneo, because I really loved being in Borneo. I love the videos too, so I'd love to get back. Have I ever considered taking a sting from the Apache wasp? Yeah, in fact, I think well, I guess it was a Comanche paper wasp that we stung my cameraman with in West Texas. Sure, any wasp. I have no reservation stinging myself with any wasp. I've supposedly had some of the most painful stings on the planet. So wasps, no problem at all. Let's see. How do you envision doing a video with a flying hymenopteran without the sting component? Would you just keep it in a capsule for the presentation? Not sure. I guess, yeah. Probably what I would do for if I had something that was flying, I would take a lot of extra time to get some really nice B-roll behavioral footage. So maybe on the nest and maybe pollinating flowers, or or eating, fruit or a caterpillar or something. I would make it more focused on some of those types of shots, and I could have it with me, but I think it would look better for me to kind of like cut between and voice over some really nice B-roll footage and behavior showcased. But that's a great question, because sometimes we do have stuff that will fly away and it can sting. So I don't know. I don't really run into this situation often because people normally want me to get stung by it, and I don't mind getting stung by wasps and things like that. So I usually make it into a sting video anyway. But I do think if I was kind of sharing the emphasis on kind of like just a video about the animal and also doing a sting test, I wouldn't quite, emphasize just as much on, oh, we're going to sting and I'm going to teach you a little bit about it, but we're mostly, doing a sting video. But I would kind of go more even-handed, kind of like the bullet ant video, similar in that kind of structure where we're like cutting between me with the animal and then also cutting to a lot more B-roll talking about morphology and ecology and things like that, as opposed to just like like blue bottle wasp video where we just or start, hey, I have this, I'm gonna sting myself, wow, that hurts, watch my arm swell up, okay, that's cool, done and done. But that's a good question. Robber flies, Acylidae, they are crazy. They're in Texas too, right? Yes, they are. We've got robber flies. I actually have a pretty big species native to my area. I could do a video on those. Those are really cool. And a lot of people don't know about them. Robber flies are these strange, stocky, they got a big thorax and this big sharp proboscis, and they hunt in the air like dragonflies. And those would be really, really cool. How bad is a horsefly's bite? Pretty bad. And a horsefly, that's mechanical damage too. So when I get stung by an insect, like an ant or a wasp, it's like a tiny hypodermic needle, going into my skin, injecting venom and pulling out. There's rarely blood drawn. But a horsefly, they're part of the biting flies, and they can cut into your skin and drink your blood, and you bleed from that bite. So a large horsefly, they can bite you really freaking hard. So I tend to shy away from just mechanical damage bite, just because it's just like, well, I might as well have just scratched myself with stuck myself with a pencil, or cut my hand with a knife or something, because it's just breaking the skin. It can get infected, like tarantulas. It's mostly mechanical damage. Two giant fangs dig into you. Like, a lot of the pain is it's a big thing being forced into your skin. They hurt. They hurt quite bad. A horsefly, and two, like, I find that horseflies bite me when I'm like not paying attention, and that like startles you too. Like, I'm expecting to hurt when I sting myself with something, and then it doesn't hurt as much because I'm like, oh, I know it's gonna hurt, and I'm like, yes, it hurts, but I'm not really hurt, right? It's just the neurotoxin telling my body, ouch. But a horsefly is cutting into you. It's actually hurting you. You're bleeding. So it's like, it's kind of a different reaction for me, because I'm normally like, oh, I know it's not hurting me. It's just venom telling me, my body, that it's hurt. But with a horsefly, I'm like, ow, actually, I got hurt, and that hurts. So now I gotta go clean it and put, medicine on it, and bandage it up. A yellow jacket landed on me. I was running, rolling, and screaming. It didn't sting me. Well, that's good. Yellow jackets, they can pack quite a punch. Actually, the pain that comes from a tarantula hawk lasts for 5 minutes. Okay, I've been stung by 3 separate tarantula hawk wasps, and all times it was just kind of pitiful. I don't even remember how long it lasts. If it was 5 minutes, I don't even know. You should do a video where you explain the difference between a bumblebee and a carpenter bee. That'd be interesting. I'd love to do some more pollinator videos, because I feel like people get confused. We say, oh, our bees are disappearing. We need to make sure we plant pollinator gardens. And then we're prioritizing, non-native European honeybees that we use to create food for ourselves, instead of our native, solitary bees and carpenter bees and things like that. So I think that would be a really, really solid idea for a kind of comparative educational video. I like that idea. Have I ever been bitten by a venomous snake? No, I have not. No, I have not. In fact, I wasn't bitten by any species of snake until I was 18, and that's only because I started working at a reptile store, and I had to pick up the aggressive ones. Other than that, I don't really get bitten by snakes all that often. Let's see here. I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so is it true that horseflies can fly 90 miles per hour, or is that just a myth? Absolutely false. No insect on the planet can fly 90 miles per hour. Maybe a rear-fanged, but I'd assume no species of viper are lapids. Nope, never been bitten by a rear-fanged snake either. In fact, I don't even know if I've ever been bitten by a snake that I've actually captured in the wild. I think I've only been bitten by snakes in captivity. Mostly because I don't often catch non-venomous snakes. When I was younger, I was just mostly interested in uh, venomous snakes. And obviously, I wouldn't want to get bitten by venomous snakes, so I was careful and I used snake hooks and stuff. But um, yeah, I can't think of a snake I've actually been bitten by in the wild. Yeah, I don't know. Most snakes kind of calm down too after you catch them, and they just kind of relax. So they're not too bad. Have I ever been stung by Polistes metricus? I have not, but why not? Most of the Polistes are pretty similar. Someone hasn't worked with a lot of Nerodia. I refuse. I refuse. Nerodia is probably my least favorite genus of snake. I don't touch them. I don't pick them up. The musk is almost as bad as the anticoagulant saliva in their bite. Yeah, forget it. I've never been bitten by a Nerodia because I never will catch a Nerodia ever. I'm super prejudiced against Nerodia. If all Nerodia were replaced with like cottonmouths and like crayfish snakes and stuff like that, I'd be like, no sweat, no worries. Other species of water snakes I like the puff face water snakes that we were finding in Thailand. Super cool, super cool. And they've got tons of teeth and they're pretty nippy too. But Nerodia just stupid looking, big bulging eyes on the top of their head, like I'm like, yuck, brown, stinky, musky snake. Forget it. I'd rather just be like, oh, there's an Nerodia over there than be like, oh, I'm gonna catch a 5-foot diamondback water snake and just get like shredded and farted on and musk squirted all over my pants in my mouth. Yeah, yeah, they're interesting, but I mean, really, like a non-venomous snakes in general have to be like really unique for me to be like, oh, that's really cool. I would catch that. I could talk about that in a video. Big I like catching the big pythons and boa constrictors and some of the little interesting fossorial stuff. But yeah, Nerodia are not my cup of tea. I will say there's some really nice. Oh, actually, I have been bitten, and I have been bitten by Nerodia. Nerodia fasciata, broad-banded water snake in Houston. In the Houston area, we were catching them, and it was biting the crap out of me. A little juvenile. That's why I don't remember. But yes, I actually. Funny you should say that. That is one of the only wild snakes that has ever come close to and actually bitten me. But it's a beautiful snake. Actually, let me pull up a picture of that because it was. I mean, it was a spectacular snake. Let's see here. Let's find it. Where was it? It was well, it might be down past here. No, that's when we went to Charlotte. Give me 1 second, folks. We're getting closer. Yeah, here it is. Okay. Yeah, check out. It was just a really, really nice snake. Let it kind of change. See that beautiful red and orange? Look at that. And yeah, that sucker was biting me. There's a copperhead. That sucker was biting me hard. It was a really nice high contrast, um, broad-banded water snake. Really nice down there. Here's a little crayfish snake. Yeah, it was a nice looking. Oh, here's a nice cottonmouth we found on that trip too. Look at that. Really cool. Yes, so that's funny. Yep, I have been bitten, and it was Nerodia. I like Nerodia fasciata. Those are pretty. There's some of the prettier Nerodia I can stand, but all we have by me is just the plain bellieds and just massive diamond backed. And I'm just not about to grab a 6-foot Nerodia, get freaking teeth stuck in my skin for weeks. Do I believe in ghosts? If so, do I think animal ghosts exist? It kind of depends on what you mean by ghosts. I would say I don't believe in like the traditional sense of the word ghost, where it's like somebody dies and then their spirit, is stuck on Earth for some reason. And I don't think that animals would have ghosts. However, I would say I'm very open to the idea of nested kind of a spiritual or secondary dimension in which we have kind of parallel type um, counterparts in that kind of dimensional space. So what I mean by that is like most religions, most cultures all over the planet, if not all of them, believe in some sort of life after death or a spirit world or a way to commune with their deceased ancestors and things like that. And I think really without uh, discovering 100% proof that that type of thing couldn't exist and doesn't exist. I mean, everything we find seems to be pointing more in the direction of, more in the direction of parallel universe theories and stuff that we just can't begin to comprehend or explain yet. So I don't think necessarily that it's physical organisms like ourselves dying and then becoming just purely spiritual and kind of like trapped in this in between place. I think that it would make more sense if there was more of like a traditional spirit realm that we would have these types of spirit creatures and counterparts being a part of. I don't know. I'm not going to say that that's true. I'm not going to say that that's false because I couldn't know that, and nobody could really know that. Um, but I try and keep an open mind. I try and be open to those types of ideas because just because we haven't seen a lot to prove certain ideas or you know validify certain concepts, doesn't necessarily mean that they're a fallacy. They could be real. It's just kind of seems like, why is there such a coincidence? Why does every group of people, every ancient group of people, have these similar beliefs about this type of thing? But that's a very interesting question. Um, would you try an electric eel in a controlled environment? A shock from an electric eel? I think electric eels can generate like over 650 watts of electricity. Electric eel shock. Let's see. Voltage 860 volts. Oh, not watts, volts. Packing 860 volts. It will not kill a healthy person. You guys want me to get shocked by an electric eel? If I can find an electric eel, maybe, but I really wouldn't want to take a shock from like a 5-foot adult electric eel. I feel like that would be tempting fate a bit. I would need like a defibrillator or something on site. What you do is so brave. What first made you begin experimenting with stings? Were you inspired by others and wanting to do it better, or is it to get closer to experiencing wildlife? Definitely the second. I was really interested in ants in particular. I got really into ants about 5 or so years ago, and it was just a way of like kind of fostering more respect for the animal because I'm like, wow, that really can pack a punch. That's super impressive, and it was a way of me just kind of learning everything I could about the animal. Okay, not only do I know, its morphology, its behavior, its diet, but I know how hard it can sting. I know how painful it is. I know its behavior. So it's just part of that. And so I was doing sting videos, sting tests before anybody else was really putting them out onto the internet. Like obviously, Justin Schmidt had done his stuff and written the book, years and years prior, but nobody else was really kind of doing this type of thing. And so I didn't even think to record and, produce it. Back in 2017, I was in the Osa Peninsula with some friends of mine. And, we were stinging ourselves with every, Ponderini tribe ant that we found. Oh, this is a trap giant. I wonder how much it'll hurt. Wow, that really hurts. Oh, here's another species. Let's test that. So it's definitely more of a way of me just kind of learning more about the animal, if that makes sense. Like I was like, I knew everything I could know except for, these last few little bits. Oh, sorry, I skipped over this question. How do I feel about Lampropeltis? I like Lampropeltis, but honestly, I feel that they're super overrated. Lampropeltis is the genus of king snakes, and for some reason, people just go crazy over them. They'll poach them. They'll drive for hours and hours and hours to the same place to look over and over again for the same locale of the same species every year. And I like them. I found quite a few of them. I found plenty of Holbrook eye speckled kings, gray banded king snakes. I've found plenty of king snakes. It's just they're cool. I don't mind running across them, but I don't really target them. I don't really have any incentive to just go all out and spend hundreds of dollars a year on trips specifically just targeting king snakes. And honestly, I don't even target snakes in general anymore. Really, I go places and I like to experience and see the entirety of the ecosystems. So I like to go to like South Texas and I get to see a lot of really cool endemic birds and wildlife and stuff like that, insects. And so I kind of go to just like really rich environments as opposed to just targeting, a species of snake or something like that. But that's a good question. Great discussions today. I've really enjoyed this live stream. Awesome. Have I ever been stung by fig wasps? I have not. Do I plan on getting stung by one? I don't know. I gotta go, Jack. Love the vids. Keep it up. By the way, you make Coyote Peterson look like a 4-year-old girl. Oops. Well, this is an interesting question. Should I answer? Should I not? I'll let you guys piece together what you think. I think that there's a lot that we don't know about the human mind. I think there's a lot that we don't know about certain channels in your brain being wired in a different way using certain things. But like I said, I'm a very open-minded person. I'm always interested in learning new things and experiencing new things. So why do you think Australia has so many venomous snakes, but Europe, same latitude away from the equator, has none? Europe has venomous snakes. Europe has a few species of vipera. The asps. Australia has a lot of venomous snakes because they've got a lot of food. And it's warmer there. They've got a lot of snakes because a lot of snakes were trapped on the island and adapted and evolved into different niches and became successful. So that's why Australia has so many venomous snakes, is because venomous snakes were the larger group of snakes to make it to the island. And so when they started diverging and turning into different species after being separated, hundreds of years from each other, most of the groups were venomous, but they're all elapids. Australia doesn't have any native viper species, just elapids. Wasps or ants? Honestly, I love ants. Love ants so much. Love them so much. Okay, everybody, I think that's all we've got time for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. I had a great time answering some of your questions. We had some really interesting questions this stream. Remember, if you can, go like this video and comment. not necessarily in the live, but go comment in the video. That'll help me. Also, this week, if you guys would go and comment on your favorite Jacksonville Wildlife video, I will respond to you and share your favorite Jacksonville Wildlife video this week. I'm gonna do a little experiment. If you guys can help me, we're gonna see if we can kind of get the algorithms back working in our favor. I'm hoping we'll have some new videos released in the next week or so here. I'm working on the shark dive and the manatee video, as well as a bunch of other short species highlights. I'm hoping we can get, a ton of new stuff put together. And I really am looking forward to seeing you guys' reactions to some of the new content, some of the new stuff I've got planned. So thank you all for watching. I will see you next week, and have a safe and good rest of your week.